Cancer. Let me tell you what I felt the second I started connecting with your energy today. There was this moment, almost like a snap, where something lifted, like a pressure that had been sitting on your chest for months finally released its grip. And what I'm seeing in these cards is the reason why you broke a death spell, a real one that was deliberately placed on your path by two specific people who wanted to watch you lose your way completely. I want you to understand what a death spell actually does, because this isn't about dramatic Hollywood curses. This kind of energy works quietly. It seeps into your motivation, your clarity, your sense of direction. It makes you feel like you're walking through mud, like every step forward costs 3 times the energy it should. Like your goals suddenly feel impossibly far away and you can't quite remember why you wanted them in the first place. That is what was happening to you. That fog, that paralysis, that strange disconnection from your own fire, it wasn't coming from inside you, it was being fed to you. And the two people behind this thought they had won. They watched you slow down and they celebrated. But here is what they fundamentally misunderstood about Cancer energy. You are ruled by the moon, but you are built like the tide itself. You don't shatter, you endure, and your endurance became your protection. These cards today are going to show you exactly how the spell broke, who these people are, and why their power over you is finished. Cancer, I'm shuffling the cards right now and just sitting with your energy for a moment before we dive in. I want to make sure I'm fully tuned in to what's really going on in your field because what's coming through already feels significant. Let's see what the cards have to say. Cancer, I'm going to pull 9 cards first and lay them face down on the table one by one. Each one is going to reveal a piece of this story, a chapter in what has been happening around your energy and how this death spell was broken. I want to sit with each card fully before moving to the next because this reading deserves that kind of attention. Nothing rushed, nothing skipped over. And then at the very end, after we've walked through all 9 together, I'm going to pull one final card. That 10th card is going to be the closing message, the energetic seal on everything we've uncovered today. Think of it as the verdict, the final word on where you stand and what comes next. So, let's begin. The cards are already face down in front of me, and I can feel the energy coming through even before I flip the first one. Whatever is about to be revealed, Cancer, I want you to stay open. This is your story, and it's time you finally got to see all of it clearly. Cancer, the first 3 cards are going to set the foundation of this entire reading. They're going to show us how this all started, how the energy first entered your field, and what it was designed to do to you. Let's see what we have here. Page of Cups, 6 of Pentacles, 8 of Swords, and immediately, Cancer, I can see the full picture of how this began. Look at this progression. The Page of Cups came first, that quiet, intuitive warning your soul was trying to send you. Something felt off, but you couldn't name it yet. Then the 6 of Pentacles shows exactly how these two people got close enough to do what they did. Through generosity, through favor, through making you feel like you owed them something. And then the 8 of Swords, that's the spell itself. That's the result of letting them in. Paralysis, blindness, a mind so tangled in confusion that moving forward felt completely impossible. Page of Cups. This is where your story begins, Cancer. And what strikes me immediately about this card is how gentle it looks. A young figure standing by the water holding a cup with a little fish popping out of it. This unexpected messenger rising up from the depths. And that is exactly what this energy was for you. A whisper, a flicker, something small and easy to dismiss. What I'm picking up is that before any of this darkness fully landed in your life, some part of you already knew. Maybe it was a dream that left you unsettled in the morning. Maybe it was a feeling in your gut when a certain person walked into the room. Maybe you started noticing strange heaviness around your energy, a tiredness that sleep couldn't fix, a fog that had no logical explanation. That was your intuition sending you the first signal. The Page of Cups is that signal. Here's what's significant, though. This card, appearing at the very beginning of your reading, tells me your spiritual sensitivity was actually your first line of defense. Your soul was already detecting the presence of something dark being directed at you before your conscious mind could catch up. You felt it before you understood it. And even if you brushed it off at the time, even if you told yourself you were imagining things, that inner knowing never fully went quiet. It stayed with you. It kept nudging because deep down, Cancer, your spirit recognized the threat and refused to ignore it completely. I've sat with so many people over the years who described this exact feeling before something dark entered their life. One person told me it felt like standing in a sunny room and suddenly smelling smoke, no fire visible anywhere, but something in their body just knew. That's the Page of Cups. That's your soul doing its job, even when your mind wasn't ready to listen. Six of Pentacles. And here is where the story gets darker, Cancer, because this card shows me exactly how these two people actually got close enough to do what they did. The image on this card is a wealthy figure standing above two kneeling people, scales in one hand, coins falling from the other. It looks like generosity. It looks like kindness. That is precisely the point. What I'm picking up is that these two people entered your life wearing the mask of benefactors. They offered something: help, support, resources, attention, maybe even emotional availability at a time when you genuinely needed it. And because Cancer energy is loyal and appreciative by nature, you receive that generosity with an open heart. You felt grateful. You felt connected. You maybe even felt like you owed them something in return. That feeling of owing, that subtle imbalance of power, that is the exact door they used. This is how dark energy gets planted, Cancer. It doesn't arrive announced. It doesn't show up looking threatening. It wraps itself in something that feels like a gift and walks right through the front door while you're busy feeling thankful. The Six of Pentacles tells me these people understood your nature well enough to exploit it. They knew that if they positioned themselves as givers, you would lower your guard completely. And once that guard was down, once you felt that sense of obligation or attachment toward them, they had the access they needed. The energetic cord was established. The channel was open. What came through that channel next was never meant to help you. It was meant to hollow you out from the inside, quietly, slowly, in a way that would take you a long time to even recognize as an attack. This is why I always say that the most dangerous energy doesn't feel dangerous at first. It feels like relief. It feels like finally someone sees you. Finally someone is showing up for you. And by the time you realize something is wrong, you're already deep inside the dynamic they carefully constructed around you. That is not a coincidence, Cancer. That is a carefully designed strategy. And these two people knew exactly what they were doing from the very first moment they offered you that hand. Eight of Swords. And here it is. Cancer, this is the card I've been feeling since the moment I started connecting with your energy today. A figure standing blindfolded, arms bound, surrounded by eight swords, driven into the ground in a circle around them, trapped, unable to see, unable to move. And yet, if you look closely, the bindings are loose. The swords don't actually form a cage. The water at their feet is shallow. The person could walk out if only they could see clearly enough to try. This is the death spell in its full operation. And I want you to understand what this energy was specifically designed to do to you, because it wasn't random. It was targeted. The blindfold represents the mental confusion they deliberately fed into your field. The self-doubt, the second-guessing, the inability to trust your own instincts. The bindings represent the emotional paralysis, that feeling of being frozen in place, wanting to move forward but somehow never quite being able to. And the swords surrounding you represent the narrative they constructed around you, the obstacles they made sure appeared every time you tried to take a step in a new direction. What this card confirms for me is that the death spell was never about physically harming you. It was about cutting you off from your own sense of direction, making you lose faith in your own vision, making your goals feel unreachable and your energy feel depleted at the exact moment you were supposed to be rising. That is the cruelest kind of attack, Cancer, because it makes you feel like the enemy is inside you, like you are the problem, like something is fundamentally broken within yourself. But here is the truth this card is also showing me. And this is the part I really need you to hear. Those bindings were never as tight as they felt. The spell had power only as long as you believed you were truly trapped. And something in you, that same quiet knowing we saw in the Page of Cups, kept whispering that the way out existed. That whisper is what saved you. Cancer, we are moving into the next chapter of this reading. Now, these next three cards are going to take us deeper into the heart of what actually happened, and I can already feel the energy shifting as I reach for them. Let's see what we have here. Five of Swords, Three of Cups, Eight of Cups. Cancer, look at this. The Five of Swords shows me exactly who these two people are and what they actually did. The dirty tactics, the calculated moves, the victory they thought they secured over you. But then the Three of Cups walks in and completely changes the energy of this reading because you are not alone in this fight, and there are people celebrating your survival right now. And the Eight of Cups tells me the most important thing, that you made a choice. You turned your back on everything that was poisoning you. That choice is what shattered the spell completely. Five of Swords, and here they are. Cancer. The two people this reading has been pointing to from the very beginning. Two figures who thought they had the upper hand, who believed that what they set in motion against you had already sealed your fate. And for a moment, looking at this card, I can feel exactly the kind of energy they were operating from. Cold, calculated, completely without remorse. What I'm picking up about these two people is that they didn't just send dark energy your way casually. They were deliberate. They strategized. They used every unfair advantage available to them. Manipulation, deception, energetic interference, possibly even involving others who didn't fully understand what they were participating in. They played dirty because playing fair was never going to get them what they wanted, which was to see you diminished, confused, and stripped of your direction. And for a while, Cancer, it looked like they were winning. You were slowing down, your fire was dimming, your clarity was slipping. From where they were standing, the spell was working exactly as intended. They watched you struggle, and they felt satisfied about it. But here is what the Five of Swords always reveals about people who operate this way. The victory they're celebrating is already rotting from the inside. Every sword they collected came at a karmic cost they haven't finished paying yet. What they did to you has already begun returning to them, and there is nothing they can do to stop that cycle. Now that is karma, Cancer, and it is already moving. Three of Cups. And this card hits differently after everything we just uncovered because the energy shifts completely the moment it lands on the table. Where the Five of Swords felt cold and calculating, this card feels warm, almost celebratory. Three figures coming together, cups raised, joy shared between them. And what I'm immediately picking up is that this celebration is real. Cancer, this is happening in your field right now. What this card is showing me is that you are not as alone in this as you may have felt during the darkest moments of what we just described. There are people in your life who have been witnessing your journey, who saw you slow down and struggle and go quiet, and who never stopped believing in you, even when you may have stopped believing in yourself. These are your people, your genuine circle. And right now, on an energetic level, they are celebrating something about you. What they're celebrating is your survival, your resilience, the fact that you are still here, still standing, still moving, even after everything that was thrown at you. They may not even have the words to explain why they suddenly feel hopeful about you, but the energy is there. Something shifted, and the people who truly love you felt it. This card also serves as a reminder from the cards themselves that the spell these two people cast was designed to isolate you, to make you feel like you were fighting completely alone. And this Three of Cups is the universe's direct response to that tactic. You were never alone, not even for a single moment. Eight of Cups. And this is the card that I believe represents the single most important moment in this entire story, Cancer, because this is the moment you chose to leave. Not dramatically, not with a grand announcement, not with a confrontation or an explanation. You simply turned and walked away from something that was no longer serving you. And that quiet, deliberate act of walking away is exactly what shattered the death spell at its foundation. What I'm picking up is that there was a specific point where something inside you finally said enough. Maybe it was a conversation that left you feeling hollow. Maybe it was a situation that kept repeating itself no matter how much you tried to fix it. Maybe it was just a morning where you woke up and felt this deep bone level exhaustion with everything you had been tolerating. Whatever the trigger was, something shifted, and instead of pushing through and staying the way you always had, you walked away. Here is why that matters so much in the context of this reading. A death spell of this nature requires a connection to function. It needs a cord, an attachment, an ongoing energetic link between you and the people who sent it. The moment you emotionally and energetically disengaged from that dynamic, you cut the cord yourself. You didn't need a ritual. You didn't need someone to rescue you. Your own decision to walk away was the most powerful protective act you could have performed. And I want you to sit with that for a moment because I don't think you fully understand how significant that choice was. You broke your own spell, Cancer, with nothing but the quiet courage to finally choose yourself over a situation that was consuming you from the inside out. That is not a small thing. That is everything. And they never saw it coming until it was already done. Cancer, we are in the final stretch of this reading now. These last three cards are going to show us what comes after the spell breaks, what you are stepping into, and what you still need to watch out for. King of Cups, Ace of Wands, Five of Wands. And this combination is so telling. The King of Cups shows me you have reclaimed complete emotional control after everything you walked away from. And then the Ace of Wands bursts in like a fire being your passion, your direction, your life force coming back online all at once. But the Five of Wands is the warning I need you to pay attention to because these two people are not done trying to distract you yet. King of Cups. And what a card to arrive right after the Eight of Cups because this is who you became on the other side of that decision to walk away. The King of Cups is not someone who is ruled by their emotions. This is someone who feels everything deeply and still maintains complete mastery over how they respond to what they feel. And Cancer, this is the energy I'm reading in your field right now. What I'm picking up is that something fundamentally changed in how you carry yourself emotionally after you disengaged from that toxic dynamic. Where before you might have been more reactive, more easily pulled into the emotional currents that these two people were deliberately stirring around you, now there is this steadiness in you that wasn't there before. A groundedness. An ability to observe what's happening around you without being swept away by it. This is significant in the context of the death spell because emotional chaos was one of their primary weapons. If they could keep you destabilized, keep you second guessing, keep you riding waves of confusion and hurt and self-doubt, the spell had fuel to keep burning. The King of Cups represents you starving that fire of its oxygen. You stopped reacting, you stopped engaging, you became still in a way that made their tactics completely ineffective. There is also another dimension to this card that I want to address. This King of Cups could be pointing to someone in your life, a person of strong emotional intelligence who has been a stabilizing presence for you during this period. Someone who didn't panic alongside you, who held space without judgment, who helped you remember who you actually are beneath all the confusion that was being layered onto you. If someone comes to mind right now, Cancer, that is your person. Honor that connection because it was part of your protection too. The King of Cups doesn't beg, doesn't chase, and doesn't negotiate with people who operate in darkness. Ace of Wands. And there it is, Cancer. This is the confirmation I have been waiting for since the moment I started this reading. Because if there was ever any doubt that the death spell has truly been broken, this card dissolves it completely. The Ace of Wands is pure ignition. It is the first spark of a fire that is about to become unstoppable, and it is burning inside you right now. What I'm picking up is this feeling of something waking up inside you that has been dormant for a long time. your ambition, your creative force, your sense of purpose and direction that these two people worked so hard to extinguish. It's coming back, Cancer, and it's coming back stronger than it was before. Because fire that has been suppressed and then finally released burns with a different kind of intensity. Think about what a death spell is ultimately designed to do. It targets your life force, your momentum, your ability to move forward and build something meaningful. And the Ace of Wands appearing right here, right after you reclaimed your emotional sovereignty, is the cards telling you directly that the attack on your life force has failed. Whatever was sent to dim your light didn't just fail to extinguish it, it made it burn brighter. This is your new beginning, Cancer. Not a continuation of what was, but a genuine fresh start with all the wisdom of everything you just survived folded into it. The path forward is clear. The energy is yours again. And this time you know exactly what you're protecting it from. They tried to bury your fire, Cancer, but what they buried was actually a seed. And now it is blooming. Five of Wands. And here is the warning I need you to take seriously, Cancer, because this card is not here by accident. Just when the Ace of Wands reignited your fire, just when you reclaimed your direction and your power, this card shows up to tell you exactly what these two people are going to do next. Because they have noticed the shift, they can feel that the spell is no longer working. And desperate people who have already proven they played dirty do not simply accept defeat gracefully. What I'm picking up is that they are going to create noise, chaos, unnecessary conflict, and confusion in your immediate environment. Arguments that seem to come out of nowhere, drama that pulls at your attention, situations designed specifically to scatter your focus right at the moment you are finally gaining momentum. This is their last weapon, Cancer, distraction. If they cannot stop you through energetic attack, they will try to exhaust you through constant interference. And this is where I need you to be absolutely clear with yourself about what deserves your energy and what does not. Not every conflict requires your participation. Not every provocation deserves a response. The Five of Wands is telling you that the battlefield they are creating is an illusion, a trap dressed up as something urgent and important. Your only job right now is to keep moving forward and refuse to step into the chaos they are manufacturing around you. Your focus is your shield. Cancer, do not lower it. Cancer, we have walked through 9 cards together, and the story they told was complete in itself. But there is one final message waiting, and this one feels different from everything that came before. This last card I'm pulling separately, deliberately, because it carries the closing energy of this entire reading. It is the seal, the final word on everything we have uncovered today about the spell, the people behind it, and who you are now standing on the other side of all of it. I want you to really receive this last card because I feel like it was chosen specifically for you for this exact moment in your journey. Let me spread the deck across my palm and draw the Emperor. And I have to be honest with you, Cancer. When this card landed face up, something in me just settled. Because after everything this reading has revealed, after the darkness that was directed at you, after the two people who tried to strip you of your direction, after the paralysis and the fog and the long walk back to yourself, this is the card that closes it all, and it is perfect. The Emperor is not someone who is recovering. The Emperor is not someone who is still finding their footing. The Emperor is someone who has already arrived fully grounded, fully sovereign, sitting in complete authority over their own life, their own energy, their own path. And this is exactly where you are right now, Cancer. Whether you feel it completely yet or not, what I'm picking up is that this card is both a confirmation and a command. It is confirming that the death spell is finished, that the two people who tried to steal your direction have lost their power over you completely. But it is also commanding you to step fully into this energy and stop waiting for permission to own your life. The Emperor doesn't ask whether he deserves to be in power. He simply is. What these two people fundamentally misread about you is the same thing the Emperor reveals right now. You are Cancer. You are cardinal water energy. You are one of the most resilient forces in the entire zodiac when you are fully rooted in yourself. They mistook your sensitivity for weakness. They mistook your stillness for surrender. And now they are standing in the wreckage of a plan that was never going to work long term against someone built the way you are built. The Emperor closes this reading with one message above everything else. You cannot be dethroned, Cancer. Not by a spell, not by two people operating in the dark, not by anyone. Psychologically, what the Emperor represents is something called an internal locus of control. The deep belief that you are the author of your own story rather than a victim of outside forces. And that is exactly what these two people tried to destroy in you. They wanted you to feel powerless, externally driven, at the mercy of whatever they decided to send your way. The Emperor arriving here is your psyche reclaiming its authorship completely. Cancer, I want to take a moment before we close this reading to just acknowledge you, not the energy, not the cards, not the situation, you, because what you have been through is not small. Carrying something this heavy, something that was deliberately placed on you by people who knew exactly what they were doing while still showing up for your life every single day. That takes a kind of strength that most people will never fully understand. And I know there were moments where you questioned yourself, where you wondered if the fog was just who you were now, where the fire felt so distant you weren't sure it was ever coming back. I need you to know that those moments were never the truth of you. They were the lie the spell was trying to make you believe. You broke it, Cancer. You did that not because someone rescued you, not because circumstances magically changed, but because something inside you refused to be extinguished. That refusal is your greatest power. Protect it, feed it, build your life around it. The Emperor doesn't look back at what tried to break him, and neither should you. Your direction is forward now, and nothing standing behind you has any claim on where you are going. Until next time, Cancer, I'm rooting for you.